The very influential European Union has recalled its head of delegation in Tanzania, Bwana Roland van der Geer. Now, this is a very serious thing. Yeah. Now, normally, when a country recalls its ambassador or its high commissioner, it's serious. When a country recalls the representative. However, in this case, Bwana van der Geer represents several European countries. Now, there's some technicalities involved in this recalling business, because there are credible reports that say Mr. van der Geer was actually asked by the Tanzanian government to leave the country. You know, it's not possible legally to deport a diplomat. Yeah, so just ask them, leave the country. Still, whatever way you want to spin this, it is not good. It's not good for Tanzania at all. But even more significantly, it tells all those doubting Thomases, all those people who are saying, oh, Chris Kumekucha is cooking stories. It tells them one thing very clearly, yeah, in black and white. There's a problem in Tanzania. But before we even go into analyzing that, yeah, there's something else. There's talk, yeah, I can call them rumors, but very credible rumors, because I heard them, yeah, coming from diplomatic circles. And these rumors are alarming. Yeah, what do they say? That actually the EU is considering sanctions against Tanzania. Now, this is very serious. In fact, it's unprecedented. We have never had an East African country, yeah, suffering sanctions from the West. Never ever. It has never happened in history. Yeah? And now, we are being told that the European Union is considering, even the mere fact that they're considering, let alone actually going ahead and implementing, the mere fact that they're considering tells you a lot. It tells you that things in Tanzania are elephant. But there's more. Yes, there's more. Yesterday, 2 foreign journalists were arrested. They were arrested at their hotel in Dar-es-salaam, held briefly, and then released late in the night, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. Both journalists are female. Yeah, one is Angela Quental, who's a former editor of the Mail and Guardian. Yeah, I believe she's a South African national. The other one, wait for this one, is a Kenyan, Muthoki Mumo. Yeah, and she's a former journalist with the Nation Media Group. Now, as I was making this video, the issue which is still hanging over this very sad affair, unexpected, sad, unexplained affair, is the fact that the 2 journalists still don't have their passports on them. Their passports were taken away by immigration officials in Tanzania. Now, up to this minute, there has been no explanation, no statement from the Tanzanian government as to why these 2 foreign journalists who are said to be visiting Dar-es-salaam, visiting Tanzania, were arrested. However, according to initial indications, yeah, the 2 were arrested in connection to not having something called a work permit, or shall I call it work permit. For those who have never been to Tanzania, maybe I can try and reconstruct the initial encounter here. Sisi ni maafisa wa serikali. Tunaomba kuona passport yako. Oops, not exactly. Sisi ni maafisa wa serikali ya Tanzania. Tunaomba kuona passport yako. Mnafanya nini Tanzania? Mmekuja kufanya nini? Mko na work permit? And then when you tell them that you're visiting the country, you're on holiday, their response, holiday yenu ni hapa hotelini. Mmekuja kufanya nini? Haswa, tueleze tuelewe. Hapa sio Serengeti National Park. Hapa ni Dar-es-salaam. Hakuna mbuga ya wanyama hapa. Kwa hivyo hapa holiday nini mmekuja hapa? Unahitaji work permit kukaa hapa Dar-es-salaam. Loose translation, we are officers of the government. Can I see your passport? Where is your work permit? What have you come to Tanzania to do? You're on holiday? What are you doing here in Dar-es-salaam? You're supposed to be in Serengeti, the national park. What holiday are you having here in Dar-es-salaam? What exactly are you doing here in Dar-es-salaam? Explain to me so that I understand. Now, if you think that is a joke, think again. I have told this story before on this channel, but a very close friend of mine had some very serious issues at the border, trying to cross into Tanzania by road, simply because they mentioned a word, that sent alarm bells, ringing all over the immigration department. Before I tell you the offending word they mentioned, let me give you the whole story. At the height of political tensions in Kenya, this man crossed over to Tanzania with his family. He wanted time to think, and he was really alarmed and believed that the situation in Kenya would escalate into serious violence. And he crossed without an issue. But while in Dar-es-salaam, because this man is a businessman, something happened in Mombasa. And he also ran out of funds, and he could not get the funds transferred to him in Dar-es-salaam. So he had to go all the way back to Mombasa by road. It's not that far when you go from Dar-es-salaam through Tanga, through the border to Horohoro, Lunga in Kenya, and to Mombasa. And he crossed successfully, no problem. He went back to Mombasa, sorted out his issues, got his cash, and now was going back to his family in Dar-es-salaam. On trying to re-enter Tanzania, the immigration officer noticed, and by the way, this person is a Kenyan national, part of the so-called East African community, which is supposedly headed towards free movement of people. Anyway, so they noticed that he had entered the country, and then within 2-3 weeks he had left the country. And yet he had applied for a 3-month visa, 3-month stay in Tanzania on a visit. So the immigration officers got suspicious and was referred to a superior. So he was asked, "What are you going to do in Tanzania?" Very politely. And so he replied, "I'm on holiday. I'd already crossed over. My family is in Dar. I ran out of money. I went to collect money. And now I'm going back to my family in Dar." And since he was being totally honest, he was not trying to say the right things, he blabbed out, "Oh, and I'm also doing some business research in Dar-es-salaam to try and explore the possibilities of launching a branch of my business in Tanzania, Dar-es-salaam." Now, the keyword that sent the alarm bells ringing was the word business. He was going to do business research. And so the immediate question was posed to him, "Do you have a work permit?" His answer was no. And so he was denied entry into the country until he acquires a work permit. And remember, his family is still stuck in Dar-es-salaam without cash in some hotel. I just thought you should know, because a lot of Kenyans like going into Tanzania for holiday. And we're heading towards the holiday season. I believe this is a very important piece of information to have on you, as you head to Dar for your annual holiday, annual Christmas holidays. You need to know it is not business as usual in Tanzania. The country, under the draconian dictatorial rulership of John Pombe Magufuli, has chased away foreign investors. So who are you? People who have invested millions of dollars in the country have run into problems with authorities in Tanzania. So who are you taking your few hundred thousands to Dar? Yes, you're injecting foreign currency into the country. Yes, you're creating employment by going on holiday to Tanzania. But it seems they're no longer interested. They're not interested, especially if you're a Kenyan. And if by bad luck you're a Nigerian, you're definitely a drug dealer, taking illegal drugs to Tanzania. And if you're wearing tight pants, that's even worse. You're definitely homosexual. Yeah? And homosexuality is illegal in Tanzania, very illegal. Unaleta vitu katika nchi yetu ambaye sio maadili yetu. Hatutaki hayo, hatutaki. Loose translation, you're bringing things into a country that are very contrary to our culture. Yeah, you're bringing bad manners into our country. Yeah, homosexual, bad manners, illegal in our country, not allowed, denied entry. Oh yes, my point is there's a lot of profiling in Tanzania, a lot of it. If you mention the word business, you're definitely trying to get into Tanzania to do business without a work permit. If you're Nigerian, you're definitely a drug dealer. And they even ask you your tribe. Hey, believe it or not, if you're a Kikuyu, you're going to grab land in Dar-es-salaam. I'm telling you, yeah? I kid you not. In fact, if I can just tell you, because I know this country very well, yeah, and I've visited in recent times. I've lived in Tanzania for over 3 years. I know the country very well. I've traveled widely right across Tanzania. I've even been to places many Tanzanians have never been to. Yeah. Most cops and authorities know 2 tribes in Kenya, Luo and Kikuyu. Luo is okay, Kikuyu, hapana. And if in case you're going on a ministry, you're going to preach the word of God, that, unless you're Roman Catholic, there's no problem. All the Roman Catholic people are getting their necessary documentation, but any other church, In fact, very recently, a minister of the Word of God from Kenya, who had been invited for a seminar in Dar-es-salaam, was arrested, and they spent, I think, over 2 weeks behind bars. Last time I checked, they had still not been released. Incidentally, the Tanzanian despot is Roman Catholic. That's why Roman Catholic, hakuna shida, no problem. Any other religion, any other denomination, any other ministry, Anyway, my apologies for wandering away from our main topic today. However, I think that information will be extremely useful to many of you taking in this video who may be planning any kind of engagement with a country called Tanzania. Things have changed. And if the head of the European Union delegation has been recalled or has been asked to leave the country, who are you? Who are you? Now, my heart goes out to the long-suffering Tanzanian nationals who are going through perhaps the most serious economic troubles this country has ever seen. And it is only going to get worse. Believe me, I have very many close friends who are Tanzanians. Tanzanian nationals are very good people. My Tanzanian brothers and sisters definitely deserve better. And so it is very sad that they now have a government in place that is not only brutal, draconian, and dictatorial, but in fact a government that has absolutely no idea what it's doing. Now, that is a very strong statement, so I need to qualify it. The government does not know what it's doing because it seems where they're headed, the plan they have in their mind, is not viable. When John Pombe Magufuli came into power, his party CCM and himself promised Tanzanian jobs, and the general perception was that the reason why many Tanzanians were out of a job was because those jobs, which were supposed to be for Tanzanians, were being held by foreigners, especially Kenyans from across the border. So chase away the Kenyans, chase away all the foreigners who Tanzanians can do their jobs, and then Tanzanians will get jobs. Now, such a strategy would be viable in a country like Kenya, where we have vast resources in terms of human labor. We have a huge, gigantic, colossal population of skilled workers, highly skilled, very qualified people, highly educated people. That would definitely be viable in Kenya. However, in Tanzania, there's a very serious problem of skills. And so, the only viable way out for Tanzania, is to in fact do the opposite, invite foreigners inside. Do what Rwanda has done, make it very easy for foreigners to come in and set up business. So what will this do? Yes, the foreigners will come in. Yes, they'll come in with their workers, but they'll also come in with money. And indeed, they will also employ locals. Now, businessmen are not stupid. You don't become a successful businessman by being stupid or naive. And therefore, a lot of these foreign investors who come into the country will make efforts to transfer skills, and to get local Tanzanians employed in their companies, and to make a deliberate effort over the years, to reduce their foreign staff and increase their local staff. It's just common sense. When you bring in a foreign worker into your business in a foreign country, it's very expensive. And I'm not even talking about the work permit, although that is an added expense. I'm talking about the expense of transferring a person and his family from their home country into a foreign country to work for you. It's extremely expensive. And businesses are about profit. So it makes a lot of sense to try your best to reduce the foreign staff in your company, even without the government hanging over your head, to reduce the foreign workers in your company as quickly as possible. But sometimes in a country like Tanzania, this would take time. The immediate concern as you enter a new market is to establish a successful business. Because even if it's a branch, it's a new business. So you start with the expensive foreign workers, set up your business as quickly as possible, and then progressively, employ more and more locals, even as you expand your business. Rwanda is an excellent example. Kagame has been made to look like a genius. And it's all very simple common sense. As I make this recording, Rwanda has the lowest percentage of unemployed people. And yet in terms of skills, even Tanzania is ahead of Rwanda. Anyway, so what the government decides is to make life hard for foreigners, and they believe that using this policy, they'll be able to create employment for Tanzanians. That is very funny. That, my friends, is a very big joke. I think now you understand when I say that the government of Tanzania and the policies of John Pombe Magufuli make absolutely zero sense. So, should we prepare to see sanctions imposed on Tanzania by the European Union? And indeed, many of the other foreign countries, even the US, are very jittery about the regime in Dar-es-salaam. So should we expect sanctions? I don't think so. What I expect, are many other diplomatic incidences, with foreign countries. What I expect, and indeed it has started happening, are very many economic refugees from Tanzania flocking into Kenya, flocking into Rwanda. What I expect is the Tanzanian economy on its knees. And indeed, there are those observers who believe that this has already started happening. Now, I have a friend who tells me actually the end game in Tanzania, and with John Pombe Magufuli over the economy, is that his intention is to nationalize as much of industry and the corporate world as he can. But he's not going to do it officially. You get foreign investors hounded out of the country. You get foreign investors leaving the country. So what they leave behind, the Tanzanian government takes over and runs profitably, without corruption. Because after all, running a business, running an enterprise is very, very easy. Anybody can do it. Of course, that's not true, but that's what Dar-es-salaam believes. And this is why they are not worried about foreign investors leaving the country. They are not worried at all. It's part of their game plan. Now, before I go, I need to say something which is a little important. Some friends of mine have noticed on this channel that I've been receiving threats on my life right in the comments area of this channel. Now it's very easy to know where these threats are coming from, especially because of the language used, even when it is English. And these threats, of course, coming from security agents in Tanzania, usalama wa taifa. Now it is common sense that when people threaten you openly, they're not serious. However, when the people threatening you are government agents, and especially government agents from Tanzania, it is serious. Tundu Lissu, the opposition lawyer and politician in Tanzania, who's now in Belgium recovering, was threatened. What happened shortly after these threats, including threats from the president himself? His car was sprayed with bullets. A man called Ben Sanane. Bwana Sanane is on record online as having said he is not worried about those people who threaten him openly, sending him text messages, etc., etc. He added that he had even passed on these telephone contacts and these messages to the police. What happened after all these threats? On November 15th, 2016, he vanished into thin air. He has never been seen to date. Now, tracking his phone on November 15th, the day he disappeared, he vanished, his phone was traced to the Tabata Mikocheni area. And then it moved to Mwenge area. Now, Mwenge is very close, extremely close to the headquarters of Usalama wa Taifa, the country's intelligence service. And indeed, the police are on record as having told people who are following up on his disappearance that it was very obvious the people who had kidnapped Bwana Ben Sanane were Usalama wa Taifa, the country's intelligence. The long and short of what I'm saying is that these threats I'm receiving in the comments area here are serious, and I take them very seriously. However, there's only so much I can do. So I just want to let you know that in case anything happens to me, you'll all know where to start looking. But I'm not worried. I'm kind of used to it. I just wanted to inform you so that we all stay informed. Because the truth is, since I launched the Kumekucha brand in 2005, May 2005, I have received very many threats. There are even times I've had to run for my life. It has happened so many times, so consistently, that I'm used to it now. I just take it as normal. An occupational hazard. Every occupation has its occupational hazards. So to my subscribers, don't get worried that I'll start fearing to tell you the truth, that I'll start fearing to tell you as it is. No way. I'll continue to tell you as it is, no matter what. I look to God for my protection, and of course continue praying for me. East Africa shall be free, because that is the will of God. That's what God Almighty wants. A free, prosperous East Africa. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha. Cartels in Kenya are so powerful. It is impossible for the government of Kenya to bring them down. And that is why the latest moves by the DEA in the United States is causing quite a lot of jitters back home here in Kenya. They were not, under any circumstances, going to lose their grip, their grip on power. But there's something else the cartels had started doing way back in 2007. They started fielding candidates in very prominent, powerful political positions so that their influence would remain guaranteed. And we're going to name those individuals shortly.